a lot of the bases actually. Someone in the chat actually asked about the Oakland Zoo. I don't know if this is too much of a tangent, but I did do an internship there about like 2 years ago. I know at least one of the zookeepers that I worked with. She was a junior zookeeper, but she was an animal biology major too. Her name was Brenda. She was very nice. I don't know if we have any university affiliates at the zoo, but I'm sure you would be able to get something set up if you contacted our master advisor, Dr. Kimsey. He's pretty good at arranging those things. And then in terms of like, I know a lot of people coming in are interested in wildlife and exotics, so am I. There is a lot of faculty who are doing work in the field, especially through the wildlife department. Sometimes it might be a little more tricky to get opportunities through them, but they have a lot of great faculty and grad students who are willing to take on students, and we have a lot of centers at Davis too, if you're in the area to get involved with wildlife. For example, I've been volunteering with the Raptor Center for a while. You know, we work with raptors, and it's a good place to network with people if you've been there long enough. And I know there are a lot of graduate students who work there, and I believe some of them have taken on ABI students in the past. So it really just depends on what you're interested in, because Davis has something for everyone. Like if you're interested in monkeys, go to the primate center. If you like birds, Raptor Center. You know, we have all the barns for all the different farm animals and stuff like that. So again, it really depends on what you're interested in. And even if you think you know what you want to do, don't be afraid to branch out. For example, like my interests are in shelter medicine and exotic animal medicine. That's what I want to do as a career. But I found my lab where we work with mice, and we work with mice studying human diseases. And it's not exactly my career field of choice, but it's something that I love doing because the information and science that we are studying, I think, is very relevant and interesting and can be useful to my career. So there's that too. Oh, hello, Kayla.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey, okay. That's okay.
Okay, I'll make you a co-host.
And another research was we had a student working with Dr. Jason Bond. He's going to actually, you'll meet him in ABI 50B when you take that either this quarter or next quarter with Black Widows. Yeah, she had I'm not sure exactly what her research was about yet, because I don't think I've seen her final paper yet, but she's been working with him on Black Widows. So that was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of, so for the chat to get that going again, what type of research do you think would be interesting, or you interested in? Or, you know, there's so many things out there. You could do nutrition, communication, behavior, all kinds of things. You could even do, get credit for some of you could potentially get credit if you go abroad and do, when all of that opens up again. They do have some online programs that they're doing currently for the fall quarter and winter quarter. They have some local things, and we highly encourage you, if you have the opportunity to go on abroad. It's a great experience. So that would be something that you can also potentially do. And I know that the question came up is, what can you do right now that when you're not on campus, as far as getting internships and things like that? Everybody has converted things into virtual, everything through Zoom or other ways. So they are, a lot of the labs are doing that. They have openings that way. So there are opportunities if you're not on campus, and still during this time, this would be order for you to do things via online. You communicate via Zoom and stuff. Okay, Lisa and Kayla.
Yes.
What was that question that we just answered?
I think we're wrapping up on we're wrapping up like a lot of the odds and ends questions we're getting. So I think we might be ready to move on to the next one. And let's see. Devin asked a good one, which is, when should you start your research, junior or senior year? And I don't know what your guys' input might be on this, but my personal take on it is as early as you can. The earlier the better, you definitely want to at least start looking in your junior year. You'll be taking ABI 187 in your junior year, especially if you're a transfer, you'll be taking it next quarter. Because when you join a lab, a lot of the time, your PI or the person you're doing your research under will prefer that you be there, will prefer that they get to invest in you. Meaning if you start as a junior, they'll be able to have you for 2 years instead of 1 if you're a senior. And I already know actually that some places prefer to recruit first and second year students. I think there's like a bird lab that has been advertised in the newsletter, and they're specifically recruiting first and second years just so they can have you for a long amount of time.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Looking for, oh, go ahead, Ira.
Let's see. So just to add on to that, what Lisa was saying, that you know, the earlier the better, because you get more experience that way. And generally when you do start in a lab, generally the first quarter where you get started, you're going to be learning a lot of the processes and your safety and all of that. So you're going to be shadowing, you know, grad students and learning things that way. So if you can get in, even I recommend it definitely in your sophomore year to really start, you know, kind of looking for that. You want some lab experience, and you have an opportunity even then to maybe work in 2 different labs. Maybe you'll look at one and you'll say, oh, this is really interesting. You'll do that for, you know, a year, or and then you pick up, you know, the lab that you're going to do your research in. So there's a lot of different opportunities, but again, the earlier the better, because then, you know, you get more out of it at that point.
Mm-hmm. And then going off what Elvira is saying, especially for incoming freshmen, if you start doing research early on, and even if you start doing research later on, you shouldn't be afraid to jump like from one lab to another if you really decide that what you've started with isn't exactly what you want to end with. I've done it before. A lot of students have done it before. Like at first, it might seem like you kind of marry yourself to the lab that you go in because you get so involved and it's a really nice community, but you don't have it. You get one chance to do the practicum project, so it's most important that you find something that you like doing. Okay, let's see. And then, oh, that's a good question. Okay, so we have 2 good questions. The first one is, how long does the process last of research and writing? It really varies, but I would give yourself at the bare minimum 2 quarters, especially since for the major, you have to take ABI 189, which is credits for doing the research, and then after that 189D, which is credits for writing the paper. So you kind of have to take them separately, ideally. But a lot of the time, professors will either like to have you for longer so you can shadow first. That's how my lab was like. I shadowed for a little while before I started on my own project. Or perhaps you can get the opportunity to work on more than one project. Say you do one early on, and then you still got a while to go in your college career, so you get to hop onto another project or start something yourself, maybe. Kayla, do you have anything? Any input?
Question from
Okay.
Okay, so there's another question from Sarah about, am I not muted? Okay, I'm good. That says she's a pre-vet major, but she's not an animal biology major. If she should be changing her major, is animal biology a good route to go as a pre-vet? Honestly, you can go as a pre-vet in any major. You can be an English major as long as you have your you know, the prerequisites done and everything you need. Animal biology will definitely get you there. A lot of our major courses are there, but I tell students, look at a major that you're really interested in, that really, you know, that excites you, that you're interested in things. So if you're looking for a major in an animal related field or something different, you can still do that. Animal biology will definitely prepare you for vet school. As equally as animal science, that's the biggest question. Which one's better? Out of all the majors, they always ask us about those 2. And we will equally get you to vet school. We have about the same percentage of students getting into vet school every year. So really it depends on what, you know, what major speaks to you and what you like about that major. The opportunities in each major are different, you know, of the experiences that you get. Ours is with the research, which is great. And I really think that, you know, that really gives you a, you know, an upper hand, I guess, and doing research and getting that experience. So really, explore. I mean, visit with the advisors, meet with peer advisors, ask them questions, see what the major has to offer if you're if you're not sure where you want to go from this point, and stuff like that. So definitely check with advisors and stuff on that one.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of what you were saying, animal biology and animal science are kind of like apples and oranges now. Even though the name is very similar, they both give you you have the opportunity to complete all of your pre-vet like requirements under both majors. And keep in mind that even though animal science, for example, might give you more classes that give you more hands-on experience, say flipping sheep and things, in the end, it's up to you to find your own experiences, because that's what vet school cares the most about. Because if you think about it, they're probably going to receive hundreds of applicants who've taken all the same animal science classes as each other. And it really matters that you're able to show that you took the initiative to find opportunities to set yourself apart from others. Animal biology does a great job at facilitating that with the practicum project. And also vet school love it when you do research, which is very important to them. So, Kayla, any input?
Yeah, just to build off of what you just said about the research part, I think that's the biggest part, that you kind of have an edge in the sense, well, I had a vet student come to one of my ABI classes, and he had a presentation about being a vet student, and he was an ABI major before. And he said that he felt like he had like an edge on his peer over his peers, just because we have so many classes that really teach you how to read scientific journals, how to write scientific papers and such. So that type of research, and just kind of like what Lisa was saying, the type of research is really essential, not essential, but it can really give you an edge for vet school if that's what you want to do.
I totally agree. Oh, and then it looks like a couple of people have the same question, which is, if you're hoping to work as a vet for exotic animals at a zoo or aquarium, would it be better to major in animal biology or science? Well, in my opinion, you can get a lot out of both programs. So animal science, you can do, I think they might have an aquatic animal track. So the way animal science works is they have several different tracks for you to follow in your upper division coursework. So you can do like companion animal or livestock, equine, aquatic, things like that. Whereas for animal biology, you make your own track. So if you want to do anything as broad as, say, conservation, you can. But if you want to do something as specific as, like, I think some person did like orthopedic surgery at some point or something like that, something extremely specific, you're allowed to do that as well. So if you think that you benefit more from being able to find a lab and design coursework that fits exactly what you want, that I think ABI would be a great major for you. Although in some sense, technically you can go into vet school with any major. You could be an art or a music major. It's just a matter of, again, you carving out your own space and showing them what you can do with what you're given. And then on top of that, we do have a lot of students who do research at, say, Bodega Marine Laboratory, or with a lot of like marine science professors, if that's something you're interested in. And then personally, I also want to do exotic animal medicine. So we can talk about that one-on-one if you like, but I am also minoring in wildlife conservation biology, because you also get a really good scientific training in the different genres of animals, if that's something you're interested in as well.
I'm gonna put it. Somebody had a question about double majoring. So our major has a lot of units to it, and yes, it's possible to do a double major. The only thing you have to be careful with is that you don't have a lot of classes that overlap that are the same. If you do a double major, you're only allowed to share 2 upper division classes between both majors. So doing something in the science doesn't always work because, you know, a lot of the sciences, the students take biochemistry or genetics and other courses that conflict, that are the same as ours. Doing minors, definitely, and even a minor outside of the science is great, you know, some diversity for you. So I always tell students, if you're interested in something specific, minors are great for that. You just have to be careful that classes don't overlap. There's only a certain percentage of classes that can overlap between a minor and a major and double majors. So those are those type of things. And then what other questions are you guys seeing? Oh, ABI 50, the ABI class, there's a question that someone didn't get into it in the fall quarter, if it's okay to take it in winter. Yes, that's why we have them in both courses, and both quarters, fall and winter consecutive, so that those of you that might not have been able to take it in the fall can take it in the winter. The ABI 50 A, B, and C, you don't have to take them all in your first year. You have the first 2 years. If you can get them done by the end of your second year is perfect, because then you'll start your upper division courses from that point on.
I wanted to answer the question about if I know that I would like to work with a specific animal, but I don't know what type of research, how would I go about that? I guess that kind of relates to like, if you are interested in something specific, like a minor, that could really help you with that. But with a specific animal, I would honestly, if you aren't in Davis, if you're somewhere else, I would see if you could get any type of volunteering experience, because you don't always have to go straight into a lab. I guess my experience has been kind of unorthodox. I've been all over the place with this major. So I in my 4th year, I just got, you know, my research started the summer before. So and I knew that I wanted to work in behavior, but I didn't know what type of animal. So I kind of looked for those keywords, because sometimes like Googling things, you'll find a lot more things than you think through like just keywords. So if you know you want to work with a different specific type of animal, you could try looking for like a marine volunteer internship, or like exotic animals or zoo animals, or something in that realm where you can get more experience, because you don't have to go, like I said, you don't have to go into a lab, because you might not know what you want to do.
I totally agree. I mean, I didn't like 1,000% know what I wanted to do at the beginning, but I'm pretty happy where I ended up now. Let's see. Have we talked about how we go about getting a mentor yet?
No.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So I guess a couple of people have been asking how we go about finding a mentor. That's mostly, so how to find a mentor is basically the entire focus of ABI 187. So for you transfers who will be taking that soon, I'll be very helpful, although it does help to start looking at it ahead of time, so it's a little bit, so you have a little bit more time to establish yourself and figure out what you want to do. So our main piece of advice, especially since everything is online right now, is to get in contact with people that you'd like to do research with. At the moment, it doesn't seem like a lot of places might be taking on students the same way they might be doing during a normal school year, just because of health restrictions and stuff like that. Like I know my lab, we have a bunch of applications, but we can't do anything about it because I don't think we're legally allowed to let more people into our building. However, to get started on looking for people, we recommend going to a bunch of different faculty websites. So for example, if you want to get working with livestock, it might be wise to go through the animal science faculty page. And then you can see all the different faculty that are working and could be potential mentors for you, and see what types of research they're up to. What I did, I looked at the website for the UC Davis Vet School, because I was really just, because, you know, I at first really wanted to research with birds, and I contacted probably every single person who was doing research with birds, and I think the stars were just misaligned at that point, and they weren't taking people at the moment. So I was thinking like, okay, the next thing I'm most interested in is veterinary medicine, and I'd kind of like to go from square one and see what they have to offer. And from there, you can I think they also have pages of faculty who are recruiting students, and there's a bunch of different departments at the vet school for those of you who are interested in that stuff. Even if you're not interested in veterinary medicine, they have a lot of stuff in, you know, toxicology, physiology, stuff like that. Like, even if it remotely involves animals, it's okay to use as a practicum project. It doesn't have to be about animals, it just has to incorporate them in some way. And as another example, you can look on like the wildlife website, or also the graduate groups. For example, there's like the animal behavior graduate group. There's like the one for ecology and evolution, or you could look at websites for different institutes. For example, there's the One Health Institute and there's the Primate Center. So essentially there's just a bunch of different places you can do research at UC Davis. And the first step is to start looking at what these places offer and the type and the people who work for them.
Okay, so can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah.
In 187, you'll go over how, you know, how to contact a mentor, whether it's via email, via, you know, however you're going to contact them. Also, you know, you could also email graduate students, but we provide support for you in 187. We teach you how to do all that, how to go about it, how to contact them, how to be prepared, you know, have your CV ready, you know, so when you do meet with them, if you meet with them in person or online, that you're going to be, you know, giving them the true, you know, like I said before, what's going to set you apart from the person that contacted them before you and after you, you know, so we're going to help you through all of that in 187. Dr. Kimsey will go over all of that with you. And then in your sophomore year, we also support you in giving you information on mentors that we've had. We have different information on, you know, what's available, what's been done in the past, things like that we can offer you information on that to help support you in that sense. And then if let's say, you know, you contact a lot of people and a lot of them are saying, well, you know, not yet, maybe next quarter or something. We can also, Dr. Kimsey, sometimes we'll just pick up the phone and call people and say, you know, I have a student that would like to work in this area. Can you, you know, meet with them? So we do help provide you support in finding all of that. And so, you know, don't worry too much about that, but there's a lot of ways, you know, to get started early on that and just kind of creating your list and seeing what's available for you out there.
And I just wanted to add on that I am currently taking ABI 187 this fall. So if you do have any questions, if you do meet with me, I can, you know, kind of divulge how that class is broken down, how it proceeds, and what you can expect for that class, since I'm enrolled in it right now. So if you do have any questions, I could try to help you through that process, because it's been revamped. I guess the class schedule structure has changed. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you do have any like specific questions, I could try to help with that.
And definitely utilize for your 187 class and things. Dr. Kimsey is very accessible. You could email him anytime, ask him questions. He's a master advisor, like I said before, and he teaches a 187 class plus the TA in that, and the class of 187 is always available to answer your questions, even after the quarter's over, you've taken that class. So there, you know, those are connections you can make. Now, I know we have a lot of students wanting information on vet school, but I also want to open it up to students that might not be thinking of going the vet school track and have questions. I haven't seen too many on here yet, but I don't want to, you know, rule that out and put some questions out there if anybody has specific questions on that. And then also for transfer students, if you guys have any questions specific, you know, on finding a mentor or starting ABI 187 and so on, what's the next step and things like that, you know, let's hear from you also. Do one of you guys want to answer the nutrition question? There are quite a bit of faculty that do research in nutrition. We have some in the nutrition department, but we also have animal science at the vet school. We have quite a bit. So there are faculty that work on nutrition. I know that some of it depends on the lab, but not always do they have everything, because sometimes they're working on more than one project in there also. So you could just Google nutrition, animal nutrition research, and anybody who has worked in animal nutrition research will come up in that Google search. And then you can kind of even it out from there and kind of look to see whose labs they mention and what faculty and what departments are in.
I'd also like to add on top of that, as of lately, I've been seeing a lot of nutrition studies going on through animal science with cattle. I think Tucker Lab does that too, right? Okay, I believe you're muted.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm currently doing my research on. I'm doing my research on part of the Tucker Lab is doing nutrition, and then my part is kind of nutrition / behavior. So if you are interested in that, you could definitely look into the Tucker Lab, or you can schedule an appointment with me one-on-one to talk about how the lab is kind of set up and stuff. Yeah.
All right.
If I want to go to grad school to become a professor, should I minor in education? I just wanted to shout out the Internship and Career Center again. Like, if there are questions that you have regarding, like, I know what I want to do, but I don't really know how to go about it, you can definitely schedule an appointment with a career advisor, and they can kind of talk to you about what would be good. Do that, but I think minoring in education sounds like a pretty good idea. If anyone has anything else to add.
This is mostly secondhand knowledge, but from what I know, the education minor is done through the School of Education, and they mainly give you the prerequisite courses to getting a teaching credential, I believe. And you don't need a teaching credential to be a professor. Professors are, at least at UC Davis, are like faculty researchers and stuff. So what you're really looking for is probably a PhD in something that you're in, whatever you're interested in. But to go on top of what Kayla said, I believe there is pre-graduate advising that you can get. I don't remember what office it is, I'm sorry, but I think that might be the direction that you want to go to, if that kind of is the field that you're interested in.
So the last one we have, what could I do if I'm interested in more than one thing? Conservation, veterinary medicine, physical therapy. Well, you could incorporate all those together also, and find a faculty member that you could, I mean, the pre-vet part, you could work with any faculty member, and they'll understand pre-vet, they work with a lot of those students. But if you're interested in conservation and then you want to do other things along with that physical therapy, we have the animal welfare center, or what is it, that we have through the vet school, and you can do a lot of, they do a lot of wildlife and a lot of rehabilitation for the different animals that they have. They have the Wild Bird Project. They have a couple of other things. So you can connect with the professor there. And if you go on the website, it'll tell you opportunities for undergraduate students to volunteer, to do research, and then you contact them and they can give you more information. So that's one way you can also incorporate both of those things, is getting some experience there.
Mm-hmm. And on top of what Elvira was saying, a lot of the things that you guys might be interested in, say if you're interested in veterinary medicine, it might be a little too broad to just look at the vet school, because once you get to the vet school and you're looking at all the faculty, there's all the subdivisions of fields that they work in. For example, like, you probably won't find someone who's got a PhD in veterinary studies or something. They're all specialists in their own field. For example, my mentor, she's a professor at the vet school, but she is not a veterinarian. She is a neurologist, immunologist person. She teaches classes on those things. So for example, if you're interested in conservation, there is wildlife and conservation stuff that is going on at the vet school. Same thing with almost any other field of study that you can look for. on the normal UC Davis like circle of faculty. Okay, and then sorry.
No, do we want to go, I mean, are there any of the preset questions we had for you guys earlier that we haven't quite covered? I mean, if anybody has questions about general, academics, GE classes that you guys took, or we kind of gone off the script of what we were going to ask to give you guys information, but we've had a lot of research questions, some student life maybe questions.
I just wanted to touch on this question really quickly about like Bodega Bay lab and other offsite labs. There have been in the newsletter, we've touched upon some offsite labs. I know that we've mentioned, I know that Bodega Bay does have like volunteer and internship opportunities. You can look on their website to find those things out. And that's the thing, like if you aren't in Davis and there are like other opportunities that you want to get experience in, you can definitely do that. Like it doesn't have to be straight to a lab or research. So if you find something like a topic like conservation or marine animals, you can look up where you are, and there could be centers around your area that you could reach out to as well.
And you could take classes through the Bodega Bay Marine Center also. One of our students last year, who was our peer advisor, actually took a summer class there one summer, and then that's how she found her mentor, and that's where she did her research for the Bodega Bay Marine Laboratory. She'd go on the weekends up there and spend time doing research when she had time. So there's opportunities to go to Bodega Bay to, at different centers, you could take classes or other things that they offer through there. And you can get information through our newsletter. Lisa and Kayla can add more information about the Animal Wildlife Center through the vet school or the welfare, the Oil Bird Project, and other centers that we have associated with those too, if you want more information on those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the takeaways of today is just that there's so many different places that you can name to find research, and it might be overwhelming, but it's a good thing, since hopefully we'll be able to have something that caters to everyone, or we have enough things that everyone can find something that they're passionate about.
Okay, so we've had you're right, lots of research questions. So
yeah. I was thinking we could maybe talk about some of these GE classes, or these GE questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, a quick one before I get into that was about the upper division composition exam. That is not a part of the graduation requirement.
Yes, it is.
Well, we're talking about the upper division one, the one that used to test.
True, true. That's right. Okay.
I don't know how much they explained this to you during the rest of orientation, but yes, you do have to take a composition exam upon entering UC Davis. That is only a part of all the English that you have to take here. The upper division composition exam that you're referring to specifically is an exam for upper division students to test out of basically the other half of the GE requirement, where you have to, I think, the university writing requirement. So you would take that test, pass it, and use that in lieu of taking an entire course. And it's free. You're allowed to take it twice. It's low stress. It's basically, at least when I took it, it was like a written exam. It's just like you write an essay on a passage that you're given. But no, it is not required.
Yeah, so what, a little more specific, we don't have an upper division writing requirement. There is an upper division writing requirement, but not specifically an upper division class that you have to take for it. You have a choice of taking an upper division if you want, but you don't specifically have to take an upper division class for it.
Yeah, and I know all the English requirement stuff at UC Davis is very confusing. So if you guys still want to talk about it in person, you can always email us, or we would highly recommend you contact the dean's office, since they're the ones who kind of handle that type of stuff. They do over email, and I think they also do Zoom advising. So they would probably be able to clarify a lot of these things for you guys as well.
Yes, any GE, university, or college requirements, you can meet with the dean's office advisors, and they can go over all of that with you.
Okay, so I think we're ready to go on to GEs because people are asking about what GEs we might have taken or what GEs are recommended. Kayla, do you have any favorite GEs from the past, perhaps?
I'm trying to think. Give me a second, because I do remember a class that I did enjoy. I have to remember the name of it.
Okay,
Someone
here, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Someone here mentioned Classics 30. I would highly recommend that class. Maybe not as your very first class, because it's kind of easy. It's a lot of memorizing. But it's a good 3 units of arts and humanities. I took it before, and the professors who teach it are incredibly nice.
I remember what class I loved. I took a dinosaurs class. I know it's a science class. It wasn't a GE class. I just wanted to say that one was really cool. Also, I guess I don't know what classes are being offered, like what GEs, but I took a flower power class. That's offered in spring. I know, and that one was really cool. There was like a project where you get to grow your like own flower and stuff. Man, I can't. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I have to like pull up my Oasis right now. What classes?
So, a lot of the classes that I hear about is Nutrition 10. Of course, the geology, the oceans, the dinosaurs, the earthquakes class, all of those. Entomology 1 is a great class. It's an art science fusion class. They have an entomology 10 class. They have, so a lot of the 10, wildlife fish conservation 10 class, animal science has some classes. So there, I mean, but not only in the sciences, outside of the sciences, I always tell students, look for things that you're interested in and look at those classes. Also explore something new, something that sounds good, but you don't know anything, or never taken a class like that or something also. So GEs are really meant to be a fun class for you to, take away from the science courses that you're taking, interesting classes. So whatever's really interesting to you and what you're interested in.
I agree. Someone asked for English GEs. I assume you're talking about the GE category that's like, again, university writing, I think that's what it's called. The one where you have to, English composition.
Requirement, yeah.
Oh gosh, let me think. I took a bunch of classes that would fulfill that requirement. I don't remember which one I used towards it, but Com 4 was really fun for me. It was a lot of reading. All the comparative literature classes fulfill the requirement. It's a lot of reading and discussing books, but my class, we focused on like modern literature. So we got to read a little bit of fiction, a little bit of nonfiction, and it's all stuff that's present day. Like I think we read one book that was about some guy who like won some kind of memory competition and was able to like do that in the span of a year. And I thought it was really cool. It wasn't a lot of like essay writing. It was a lot of reading. If you want more writing, you might want to look into the UWP classes instead. I know UWP 1 is a very popular one. And I don't know if they do it anymore, but I know communications credits may have qualified as English as well. I took both communications 1 and 3, if anybody wants to know about those two. And Elver, do you know if those classes count anymore as English?
Well, so the best thing to do is you have communication 1, 2, 3, and 4 that you could take as part of the English composition, but definitely in Oasis, under the worksheet, the degree worksheet tab, there are also GE worksheets on there. But for GEs, I would definitely recommend for you to look at your My Degree, and under the English composition requirement, it will give you the list of courses that qualify to satisfy that requirement. So then you can just go directly in there and look at those directly as you're looking at classes.
Mhm.
Okay. So that way we don't get any confusion or, so that would be, and then again, meet with the Dean's Office advisors. They're the leading authority on the GEs and college and university requirements. But
Mhm.
thank you for the feedback on that class. I don't hear a lot of feedback on the classes that students take for the English composition as far as, what they're like and stuff. So kind of nice to know that. We have some transfer students in here, and I don't want to, because I know we're doing a lot of the general questions, so I don't want to leave out the transfer students because I see there's any transfers in the chat. So we do have quite a bit of transfer students in here also. Transfer students, do you have any specific questions? Something you might want to know on what to expect, or even, recommended upper division classes, maybe, anything like that. We'll see what comes up. See, what haven't we answered yet?
Oh, there's just so many questions. It's hard to sift through.
Okay, so what advice do you have for transfer students is something that we had as a question before. Lisa?
Oh gosh. Yeah,
recommendations?
there's a lot of different types of advice for transfer students, but I think in general right now is that, as a transfer student, you're probably familiar with that. You're going to be hitting the ground running very fast. And it really sets apart your college experience from other people's, because a lot of the time for maybe the first 1 or 2 years, you're kind of ditzing around and being like, I kind of think I want to take that class or that class. But right now, a lot of you are probably planning on graduating next year, which is quite soon. And it's important to have a balance of not overwhelming yourself, because you still are transitioning from community college to UC. And trust me, the quarter system is extremely intense. And while it seems like you don't have a lot of time, you still will need to adjust to how school is, especially online, which is its own challenge, I guess. But keep in mind that, yes, you should still be thinking about your graduation plan, and there's a little less wiggle room for you to kind of pick and choose classes without really knowing what requirements they fulfill anymore. So it's really important to have good contact with us advisors just to make sure that you're on track and you're doing what you want to do. Because, if you wait a year to think about your practicum project, it's already your senior year. So these are things that you kind of want to think about very early on and start contacting or getting in touch with people as soon as you can.
And this is one of the, we recommend you take ABI 187 in the winter quarter to give you time to do that. Your major requirements, your upper division courses are fairly flexible because a lot of them are offered every quarter, including summer. So you have some room to move those around and stuff also. And then your specialization courses, some of them are only taught once a year during a specific quarter. So those are the ones that we have there. And the biggest thing, like Lisa said, is partner with us. You can meet with us every quarter before registration. You can meet with us at any point in time, as many times as you need to, or if you just have questions, and you can, email us and we'll reply to those also. But we definitely can answer any of your questions. And like Lisa said, it's kind of hard to describe what transfer student experience is. I mean, we could tell you the experiences, because each one of you will vary in what you've already done and what you're wanting to do. But we stay connected with you and try to support you through all of that, and all of your individual needs also, to support you with all of that and give you information and help guide you along. So definitely, utilize us. Don't be afraid to contact faculty. Don't be afraid. It's important to get to know your faculty, let them get to know you, professors you take in their class. If you have a professor that does more than one, all of those things that you're going to need help with. So don't be afraid to reach out, to your TA even, and ask them questions if you find a TA that you really like in a class that you're taking.
I second everything you just said. There's just so much to being a transfer student. And just know that you're not alone. UC Davis has a lot of transfer students compared to other schools. So there's definitely a big community, and it's I think it would be nice to know if you guys are connecting with each other and finding support in each other. So, okay, there's a lot of questions. Okay.
I know. So it doesn't matter what major you're in if you apply to a specific graduate program, as long as, again, like you have, the background or graduate program that you're applying to at a specific place. You can be an animal science major and apply to the animal biology graduate group, or the animal behavior graduate group. So it depends, you don't have to be an animal biology major in order to apply to the, animal biology graduate group or get your PhD in animal biology. You can be one of the other majors also that works with that. So let's see here.
Let's see.
Earlier about, is it possible to acquire enough hours in the 2 years for vet school or grad school?
I would say, or Kayla, do you want to answer that question first?
I could just, I've seen a few people, you can answer it first and I could give my,
okay. Okay, so let's see. So you'd start getting your hours now. Okay. It depends, just because different schools have different requirements. I think UC Davis has like 180-hour minimum, whereas some schools have 0 minimum hours. Like you can apply with 20 and still be eligible to apply. And what's more important than just the hours is that you're also able to get a good letter of rec out of them too. Especially if you're working with a veterinarian, they're going to want to be working with you for a little bit just so they can get to know you, see your work ethic and stuff like that. And it really depends on how you choose to use your time, because, for example, jobs might eat up a lot of your time, while internships might only last a quarter, for example. Like, personally for me, I got most of my vet hours over the summer working as a vet assistant, just because, during the school year, it's really hard to have multiple jobs because you want to do 20 different things at the same time. You kind of have to pick and choose your battles. But I would, let's see, if you aren't comfortable with how many hours you end up getting after these 2 years, because vet school apps are really expensive, and same thing with grad school apps, it's not a bad thing to take a gap year as well, especially if you think it'll make your undergraduate career easier by not having to balance, research, vet assisting or something all at the same time. Because taking a gap year allows you to first relax from school for like the one time in your life, maybe. It allows you to save up money for vet school, and it lets you work maybe full time and get hundreds and hundreds of hours of experience without having to worry about school.
And then I'd just like to add something before Kayla. Remember to work with the Health Professional Advising Center. Make sure you're meeting with them, because they have really good recommendations. They can give you specific information. They can give you more statistics as far as what Davis students are doing and what's working for them or not working. And then they'll work with you as an individual and advise you on what you can do, or what's recommended, or how much you've done. Things like that. So reach out to them also, partner with the Health Professional Advising Center.
Yeah, so what I was just going to add on about kind of balancing everything. I know a lot of people don't want to take a gap year, but I'm going to opt to take a gap year because I feel like there's, like we were saying, animal biology, there's so many different avenues you can go into. So I really didn't know that I wanted to genuinely go to vet school until kind of this year. I was like, okay, yeah, I really want to do this, but I need experience. So I have, you may have other like hands-on animal experience, but that clinic experience that vet schools are looking for, that's what I'm opting to really accumulate over that gap year. And I know it's not usually like the most ideal, but it's also not the worst, because if you feel like you can use that gap year and you can take any extra classes or you can get more experience, if you can do anything that you feel more comfortable when you send in those applications, because like Lisa was saying, they are expensive. So, you know, if you do want to take that, don't feel bad about that. And don't feel bad about going on your own journey. Like, we're all starting right now, and, you know, we're all starting at the same time, but, you know, we're all doing different things. So we don't all have to graduate in, you know, 4 years. Like, we might not all graduate.
Oops, I think we lost your audio,
lost-
Kayla.
Yeah. Kayla, we can't hear you anymore.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, you kind of faded out on us.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It kind of is really intimidating when you meet all of these people and like, yeah, I've been, like, I was born in a veterinary office and all of these things where it's just like, you kind of like scared to reach out to, you know, faculty and like, oh, I don't have enough experience on my resume. Just go for it. Just network, talk to people, like, you know, getting rejections are kind of part of it. So if you do feel like at the end of your years here, you don't have really what you want for your application, then yeah, totally.
Oops, we lost you again. Kayla, we lost you again. You faded out. Okay, so I just want to kind of add on to, you are each on your own journey. And I, you know, within the time, so for transfer students, you know, you will have, you know, if you're 2 years here to graduate, you'll be able to do that. The biggest thing I want to tell all students, you know, all of you transfer students and first year students, is don't overwhelm your quarter. You'll have enough time to get things finished in the time that you need to get it finished. And, you know, that's why you work with us on helping you schedule. You work with our professional advising if you're interested in vet school, grad school, or any professional school, so that we can help support you and guide you, you know, and give you the tools that you need in order to, you know, achieve what you want when you graduate, you know, to go on to the next journey of your life and to experience new things. So, you know, that's the biggest thing about, you know, we're all each in our own journey. You may find, oh, well, this person over here already did this, this, and this, and they're transferred to like I am, and, you know, why am I not there? And then you start to worry. Like,
Yes.
you know, everybody, we all work at our own pace. We all, you know, learn a little bit differently. So there's things, so don't worry about that. Don't let that, you know, intimidate you or stress you out, you know, because it just is different. Like, I'm
Yes.
just kind of finishing up what Kayla was saying.
No,
Yeah.
totally. Do not go around comparing LinkedIn pages and stuff like that.
Oh,
Okay.
God, stay off LinkedIn.
Stay off of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Genuinely, you will get to where you need to go at the end. So don't compare yourself throughout the way. Like,
Yes.
what is yours is yours.
Exactly. Yeah, I hear a lot of that from students saying, well, my roommate said this, this, and this. And, you know, I know you love your roommate, you get along with them, but make sure you're going to the right sources for that information also, you know, because students offer you their perspective and stuff, but sometimes it could be a little bit different. So make sure, like I said, you're reaching out to the right people, you know, the dean's office, us, you know, health professional advising, or other people. You know, we all mean well when we give you advice, you know, like a roommate to say, oh no, well, you know, I did that and, you know, that didn't work for me. You have to do it this way, or, you know, so you have to do what's best for you and how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions that we need to?
Let's see. There's just like a lot that I feel like we might have skipped over on accident. Let's see.
Do you want to talk about your spreadsheet a little bit?
Earlier I just tried recommending that it's a wise opportunity. It's a wise idea to make a spreadsheet of your own hours for example, like if you have a job, if you have an internship or anything, and keeping track of like literally everything. Because when it comes time to do your applications, you know, you don't want to like accidentally forget an internship you did 4 years ago, or completely forget how much time you spent doing something, or how many weeks you might have missed off doing something. Because at least from my experience on BEMCAS, the application website, you only have to give estimates of how many weeks you worked and how many hours per week you worked. So if you have, it's important that you know how much you worked, so it's accurate.
Okay, we have some questions that I went back and kind of found. Generally, how many classes per quarter in your senior year, and how does that work with the research project? On average, students will take 4 classes a quarter, once in a while, maybe 5, depending on the quarter, and you know, when the classes are offered. But we definitely, and there was another question about meeting with me to put a 2-year academic plan together. And yes, when you meet with me again, we will look at a 2-year tentative academic plan that we'll put together. And you're more than, I mean, you have access to OASIS. Anytime you meet with me, we'll do that also. So we'll set up a 2-year graduation plan for you when you meet with me next. And you can meet with us at any point in time and do that. You can even create your own academic plan in there and save it. And then, you know, when we meet, we'll review it again, or you can just email me or email one of us and say, you know, I put an academic plan together. Can you look at it and tell me what you think? Because I try not to give you a really heavy schedule, because you are doing research. So you have to also accommodate in your schedule for that time that you're spending in the lab. That's, Lisa mentioned ABI 189, and that's not a class, but you register for it during the quarters that you're spending time doing your research in the lab. So we give you 2 units of credit, which is an average of about 8 hours a week, you know, so that we're giving you credit already for that time you're spending in the lab. So you also want to, you know, account for that time, account for your internship time. You know, if you're doing an internship and when you're doing research, and some students tend to spend extra time in there in the labs too, rather than, you know, just the 2 units credit. But so it depends on the student, and it depends on the courses you're taking and the courses that you've chosen to take, what quarter they're offered in, if you know. So we definitely do that and kind of give you an idea ahead of time. So we will put 2-year academic plans together going forward now after we met with you initially. And you can schedule an appointment with me anytime if you want to go over that and create one. And like I said, you can create your own, kind of put it together. The peer advisors are great at putting, you know, academic plans together for graduation. So we'll definitely do that whenever you want. You can meet with any of us.
Yeah, and just to second that, Kayla and I, the peer advisors, also take care of scheduling. So I know a lot of the times it might be hard to find an appointment just because there's so many students. But for stuff like making schedules or just talking about classes, or Kayla and I can handle those, and we can answer almost all the same questions that you might have for Elvira as well. And we are going to send out our hours sometime soon. So, and we'll give you a means of how to reach us through that as well, if you don't want to do just like email or something.
Right. Yeah. So again, peer advisors are great for that. They can help you with that. And you know, they're students, so they have that experience in classes also. So definitely reach out to them. And if my calendar's full, by all means, continue to reach out to those peer advisors too.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't forget that, where is it? Anika made a reminder she's got a group me for the animal biotransfer students that she's putting together. So if you guys are interested in that, email her. Just as a shout out to her on that one. I'm trying to see if we missed anything else. Okay, so there was a question about you that you were someone was a little bit nervous about the research process, and if students are usually stressed out over it, or do they have a good experience? I mean, we've had students, I mean, our students have great experience. It's a good opportunity and it's a great experience. And yes, I have a lot of students that, you know, get a little worried about it because it seems like it's a lot, like, you know, how are you going to get it started? Is it going to be difficult? Is it going to, you know, and I think that I always tell students, don't worry, you know, it's going to work out fine. Once you get started, you'll understand. And the more we talk about it, the more you talk about it, and then you'll get to experience that and see things. So don't be nervous about it, you know, we'll continue. This is a beginning. We haven't given you you know, every detail about it. So it is kind of nervous, you know, like I think Kayla was the one that said earlier, you know, it was, you know, kind of different. So it's strange and stuff.
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, it can be a little intimidating, like she said before. But
Yeah, I just wanna, I was like I said, I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay with this major. I was scared. I did not know what that meant. I was like, practicum, that sounds like grad school type things. But honestly, um,
Oh, I think we lost you again, Kayla.
uh-oh, Kayla, we lost you again.
because that's what we're here for.
Oh, we just missed all of that.
I know, we lost you again.
Oh my gosh, seriously? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't even know. Where did you lose me?
At the beginning.
Yeah, kind of at the beginning.
Okay. I could give a really short. So basically, what I was just saying is that super scary. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I kind of put it off for a long time, like, oh, I don't, whatever, it'll come together. And it really does. Just like reach out to us. If you are feeling nervous, you're feeling scared, you're unsure, like, come talk to us because it can seem like a lot, but once you're in the process, like I am now, I'm like, I'm really glad I started with this major.
Okay. Any other questions?
Really?
We still have like oh, we still have a full group still here. We still have some time left.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if there's any more questions.
I'm so excited and happy you guys have all these questions and they're great questions. And I'm glad you're already starting to network. This is great.
Oh, there was a question from earlier asking about how we find internships and volunteer opportunities other than just like research. Do you or Kayla have a way to answer that?
Definitely reach out to the Internship and Career Center. They have peer advisors that are in the animal related majors like animal biology, you know, animal science, wildlife conservation biology. We have an advisor at the that deals specifically with the animal related majors and internships for them. And then also our newsletter, we put a lot of things in there that come through from different places and come to us from departments, from different faculty, word of mouth. There also, there's different clubs you can get, you know, look at the clubs that you can, we have hundreds and hundreds of different clubs. You can connect that way and get internship information. There's several different ways, you know, the Internship and Career Center has Handshake. They have a lot of other ways and you could meet with an advisor there and they'll give you more information. So there really is a lot of different ways to find internships. You know, like I said, sometimes they just fall into our lap and we put it out in the newsletter and then all of a sudden I hear, hey, I got that internship you guys sent out a couple of weeks ago, you know? So there are a lot of different ways. So we can, you know, give you different things. Look on the Internship Career Center website, people you talk to, you know, anybody. And like I said, if you're interested in something specific and there isn't any advertisement, or if you want, you know, at a specific center and you're not sure how to do that, contact them directly. A lot of times that, you know, that doesn't hurt, that help, you know, that tends to work sometimes quite a bit actually with our students. I tell students, don't be afraid to contact faculty. Don't be afraid to make contact with, you know, different resources and different people, because, you know, most people, I mean, I should say everybody out there is friendly, are willing to help you and answer your questions. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out. Lisa, Kayla, any?
I was just gonna say also check Handshake. I found a few different opportunities through that. I've worked at the mouse biology program and I found that through Handshake, and I also worked at the Primate Center for a very short time, and I found that through Handshake. So you could also try that, because sometimes there are some cool animal jobs through there, and it might not be an internship, but it could be like just a job where you could get hands-on experience.
Yeah, and to add on to that, you can find a lot of the stuff on Handshake is also off campus. It's not just Davis. It's like everywhere, surrounding towns, places in LA, out of state.
Right.
So there should be hopefully something for everyone there. And then Elvira, so someone was asking you about minoring. Would you be able to talk about that maybe?
Sure. I recommend, if you can fit in a minor, my first thing is I always tell students, look at their websites for whatever you're interested in, or even if you know you want to do a minor, you're not sure, check out their websites, look at what the requirements are. Make an appointment with a peer advisor or an academic advisor if you can, so you can get all the information about the minor, not just what's online, because sometimes, they'll tell you have to take certain classes at certain times. Maybe classes are only offered every other year. Classes have different schedules all the time, so you want to make that. So for a minor, you can share one class. Well, I say one class, it's 1.5 classes by the percentage, but one class between your major and your minor. So we've had students do wildlife conservation biology on the science side. Entomology has some really great minors, a nutrition minor. Minors are all upper division courses. So you just want to be careful that if you're doing a science minor, that you're not going to have a lot of those courses that overlap. So that are part of our requirement, like genetics and biochemistry, are typical requirements for most of the majors in the sciences. So you want to make sure that not more than one of those overlaps. And the good thing about our major is that because you do your the 25 units of your specialization restricted elective courses that are associated with your research, you have an opportunity to kind of take a different class and maybe an alternate class for the minor. A lot of minors give you choices of courses to take. So if you have one that conflicts, you have another choice to take one in order to do that. But then minors outside of the sciences are great. We have a lot of students that do that. I tell students, if you're interested in something, music, dance, history, Chicano studies, women's studies, psychology, anthropology, I've seen lots design, we've had students do that. So we've had a lot of students do minors outside of the sciences. So there's a lot of information out there. Make sure you're meeting with advisors, getting accurate information. When you meet with someone, you can put, again, an academic plan for your minor, and then, you can incorporate the minor and the major academic plans together, and we can help you do that. The peer advisors can help you do that once you find out what the requirements are and when they are. The most important thing is planning, and making sure you're planning early, when you're looking at minors, to make sure that you're going to have time to take it in enough time. A lot of students will wait till the last year and say, oh, well, I'm going to tack on a minor. But it doesn't always work that way, because, sometimes, like I said, courses are done differently. So definitely go to the source, get all the information, meet with the peer advisors or myself, and we can help you put academic plan together. And it's always important to do that as early as possible once you discover what minor you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And I think, did you already mention that you can only overlap one major and minor class together?
Correct. You can only share, so you can overlap one. When I say share, that means you can only use one class that's required for your minor, and your major, there can only be one overlapping class. So you're allowed to use that. If there's more than one, let's say your minor and your major have 2 classes that are required for both in order to satisfy the requirements for both, then you can't do that. Because it's a percentage and it's like 1.5 classes. So basically I always tell students 1 class to remember that part.
Mm-hmm. And then minors aren't, again, I don't know if you mentioned this already, but minors aren't officially declared
Correct.
Until it's time for you to graduate.
Correct.
So it's kind of one of those things where you take all the classes, and at the end you're like, hey, I took all the classes, you can give me my minor now.
Right. Because advisors will not approve your minor until the quarter that you're going to graduate. So as they're doing all your degree requirements for your when your major advisor is doing that, then the minor will come in and do that. So I tell students, don't submit your minor petition until you're actually registered. If you're going to put, taking the last class that spring quarter, you're going to graduate, make sure you're registered for that class. because if you change a class or anything is different from what you've submitted, it'll cancel out the minor petition. So you always want to make sure that everything that you have on there you've completed and or registered already in the last class before you submit it. And then the major and the minor of your major advisor and the minor advisor will have to approve that when they go through it in OASIS. And really quick, my degree is a great source for all your GEs and other requirements. So look at that, OASIS. Don't be afraid to go into OASIS and see what's available in there. You have degree worksheets, you have a GPA calculator, you have academic plans. There's under forms and petitions, there's online forms in case you may need them for something. For transfer students, if you're wondering about your transfer courses, and things like that, you can go into my degree and see what's in there. And since it's your first quarter, I tell students wait till after your first quarter to go in and look at your transfer courses. If you have any questions, what counted for something at this point, if you haven't already got that information from us, because it takes a full quarter for you to establish a record. And then once it's in there, if there's something that you see that's missing or doesn't look right, then you can schedule an appointment with the dean's office and go over it with them also. So don't just, don't be too worried about that because we didn't give you that during orientation, or we weren't sure yet, or we didn't have all the information. So just kind of keep checking my degree. It'll be in there. A lot of that information is already in there. Anything else come through?
Let's see. And then Elvira, are we going to be posting, or are we going to be sending out the recording via email later?
Yes, it's going to be posted on our website. So starting as of probably tomorrow, we'll get it all set up. I'm sure within the next day or two, we will be sending orientation or link to these, and everything will be posted on the website.
Okay. Yeah, I know the website has been down for a bit, but it will be coming up soon.
Yes.
It has been our work in project for a while. The old website was kind of gross. So
yeah, we've improved our website and added a whole bunch of great information, but we had it down for a little bit. So we'll make sure that's up in both of our webinars on here.
Okay, so Annika's asking a good question about how specialization works in animal biology. We might have touched base on this before, but it's kind of what makes animal biology unique. Because, for example, with other majors, either they just give you the major curriculum that you have to follow, or they give you, your core upper division classes and a couple different options of like specialty tracks that you can choose from. An example that I used earlier was animal science, where you can do like companion, livestock, equine, stuff like that. So for animal biology, what's different about us is that you make your own specialty. We don't have a list of specialties for you to choose from. So what happens is that your specialty is basically based on the research you do, as well as the restricted electives that you take, which I think we should have all explained to you during like past orientation and schedule building time. And basically how it works is just, it's a very informal name that you kind of give yourself. I don't think it'll show up on your diploma, at least it won't now. But it's something that you put on, say, for example, your official practicum, and it's something that we will take note of.
So your specialization, the way I generally explain it is, in your junior year and transfer students, once you take 187, you really get to design your own major because you're designing your own emphasis. So your restricted electives are associated with the research project emphasis that you have. So it's truly what you're interested in. Like Lisa said, we don't have a list that you get to, you have to choose from, and then we design, we give you a piece of paper and check off all the courses that you need to take for that emphasis. It really is about what you're passionate about, what you're interested in, and don't worry if you're not sure what that is yet. But as you start taking classes and when you take 187, Dr. Kimsey will talk to you about that. It's part of the curriculum in the class on how to kind of discovering what that is. Even if you have a broad interest, how to kind of hone that in and find something of your interest that you can do research in of what you're passionate in or what you're interested in. And then that's what builds your specialization, because you're going to take classes within that specialization. So if you're into, if you're interested in animal behavior, then you're going to take classes that are going to give you that emphasis in animal behavior. You may take, immunology class, because if that's the type of research that you're taking along with that behavior class, or that, class that you're doing. So really, when you graduate, the two unique things that you will have is you will have done research, written a research paper with that, and that is impressive. But not only with that, you will have a specialization, because you would have taken 6 to 7 classes within that area of specialization that really gave you a specialization when you graduate. So that's even going to be more when you're going to write that on your resume, you're applying for jobs or for grad school or vet school, is that you do have a specific specialization that you studied. And then you did research, and you conducted research, 1 to 2 quarters, usually it's about 2 quarters, and then you wrote a research paper on it. So those are the unique things. Other majors, they may have a track that you do, but they'll, you sit down, they give you a piece of paper, tell you what to take, what order. This way, you're really doing what you want and what you're passionate about, so you get to make that decision on what you're going to want to do later, or what you're interested in, and focus on that. Does that help a little bit more as far as, we give you the freedom to really design your own major at that point, and really do what you're really interested in, and get what you want out of it. So you're really getting a lot out of this major that you designed, you decided what you wanted to do, you helped design it with, our guidance, and so you come up with the best thing ever.
Adrian has a great question about working with other students on the practicum.
Yes. You could do a group project. We've had students, up to 3 students, do a practicum project as a group. Group projects are great, because when you do research, you're not actually working alone. You work with, other members. You're always part of a team when you're doing research. So yes, you have that opportunity to work as part of a team on the practicum project, as one team. For several years now, every year we have at least 1 or 2 students that are working as a 2-person team. In the past, we've had up to 3 students working together as a team on practicum projects.
However, I think also for team practicum projects, you also have to, while you can do that, you still have to submit your own paper.
Right.
Yeah.
So what other questions do we have here?
Let's see.
Oops. So Lisa mentioned this in the chat before, the statistics about, what portion of animal science and what portion of animal biology students are accepted to vet school, or even UC Davis vet school. They have the statistics on the vet school websites. You can find that through the HPA also. They don't have specifics of the specific majors. I mean, we can find for UC Davis, we can get that information from them directly, but for other vet schools, they don't have it that honed down to where we could say, well, how many from this major and how many from this major were accepted, or how many applied versus what was accepted. So we don't have that information that detailed. We do have statistics. 2 years ago, we worked with Animal Science to find out our statistics. Animal Science has 1,300 students, if not more. And on average, we have about 350 to 380 students in our major. We had the exact same percentage of students in the past 3 years prior to that. So this was 2 years ago when we did this, that we had the exact same percentage as Animal Science did of students getting into vet school somewhere in the country or internationally. We have students that go to vet school internationally. Of the students that graduated this year, we have 2 of them that went out of the country to go to vet school. And the same thing for graduate school too. So there's a lot of other opportunities other than here. I know that everybody wants to get into Davis vet school. Even if you're a Davis vet graduate from, you graduate with a bachelor's degree from Davis, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get into UC Davis vet school. So just a note about that one.
And I know a lot of people might say, oh, UC Davis has so many UC Davis, or the vet school has so many UC Davis undergrads. And it's mostly, I mean, that's entirely just because UC Davis attracts a lot of undergrads who are pre-vet compared to probably any other school in the state. Just because it has the really famous vet school and everything, and everybody wants to be a vet. And to be fair, we have good programs, so.
And we also have connections with, it was about a student, it's a veterinarian that came to one of their classes, and that was ABI 50B, and that was Andrew, who is an alumni of ours. He was a transfer student. He graduated from UC Davis Vet School. He's now a practicing veterinarian. And we have a couple of our students that are students at the vet school that have given us permission to, to give out their email if you guys have questions, to connect with them. They're always willing to help answer questions, let you know about their experience, anything like that. And in ABI 50B, Andrew usually comes every year and kind of talks in that class a little bit and gives you some of his perspective as an alumni and going through the process of everything also. So hopefully you'll get to meet him this year. Okay, so I think that's all the questions we have. I don't know if we missed anything else. We'll keep looking. Yeah. We had some great questions, great questions for this time.
Yeah, I know, we got a lot too. That's very nice.
Definitely. It's really nice to know that. And we already had student connecting, which is great. They're already kind of getting together. The transfer students are already connecting in a group. So, any other questions that we have? If not, I think that that's about it for us today. We wanted to make sure we had all your questions, give you that, our peer advisors give you their perspectives of their time here and what they're looking forward to. And don't forget to reach out to us. Like I said, we're all available to answer your questions. The peer advisors are a great source of information, from a peer perspective. They know how to do, academic planning, so they can help you, maneuver making academic plans. And like I said, you can always make more than one. Finding stuff in Oasis, giving you recommendations for things. Reach out to them to schedule an appointment through Zoom. And then you can schedule appointments through Oasis to meet with me at any point in time. And I think that's it. And I want to thank you all for coming. We had a great time. I hope you enjoyed it also. And definitely thank you for spending the afternoon with us again after this morning. So let's see here. Anything else? Oh, and good, tomorrow, the first day the quarter starts, which is yay! This is great. If you have any questions about, classes or anything at the last minute, let us know. We'll get back to you soon. We're monitoring email. We know that, it's going to be a fun day tomorrow, but also it's a first day class, so that's exciting. And we're, again, available anytime you need us. Don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Oh my gosh. Look, we've been the best meeting.
You guys have been the best students.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So fun.
This has made things very exciting. I hope that you guys are excited about getting started tomorrow. And, looking forward to everything we're going to do and the connections you're going to make. We're here to support you as best as we can. And like I said, my goal is for you to have a great experience here, to be successful, to provide you with, the support and the encouragement and, and to celebrate you when you guys have great things happening. You guys are going to experience lots of great things. So take advantage of opportunities that you have, throughout the quarters and stuff.
I'm so excited for you guys to start school.
I know,
I'm not excited to start school, but I'm excited for you guys to start school.
I'm jaded, but I'm very excited.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So Ashley, you can connect. Ashley says that, she hasn't connected with any other people in animal biology during orientation. So we'll definitely get you connected with other people, but, the peer advisors are here to help you get connected also. So definitely, so those of you that are still on here, Ashley wants to connect with other animal biology majors, you know, email her. So you guys can connect that way too. And thank you for coming.
Yeah. Check
Okay.
the newsletter for the Discord link as well.
Okay.
All
Good.
right.
And then in the next couple of days, we'll send out some reminders and they'll add it to the newsletter again. So thank you again for coming. I'm so excited for you guys too.
I know, this is fun.
I know, I wish I could be on Zoom. Maybe I'll just open up my Zoom so everybody can tell me what their first day was like, you know.
Gosh, I know.
Bye, see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome, thank you,
Bye.
bye.
Elvira and Kayla, do you guys want to stay here for a couple of minutes so we can touch base?
Yeah.
As soon as we're,
Okay.
yes, we can do that. Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
Bye.
I just love the everybody being so interactive and
I know.
Yeah,
Was
this was really
cool.
fun.
this is great, yeah.
It feels like last year's orientation almost, except that we got to answer
We were in
people's
person.
questions.
Exactly. Let's see here. Okay. I'm gonna close the. Let me stop sharing.